Hello, Professor. I'm Yang Jiang. The topic of my presentation is the performance analysis of Olive Garden restaurant. My teammate is Xiaoying Huang. My content is divided into 5 parts: convert, solution, process, argument, and conclusion. Now let's start with the convert. We all know Olive Garden is an American casual dining restaurant chain. Recently, some Olive Garden restaurants suffered from declining sales. This report is to help Olive Garden president, CEO, CFO, COO to better understand the facts that affect the performance of Olive Garden restaurant. For the need, Olive Garden are trying to build great brand awareness and attract more customers. They intend to know whether the performance of Olive Garden restaurant is related to both demographic and geographic facts. We need to do an analysis of competitors' performance and understand their strengths. We need to do some descriptive analysis, correlation analysis, and regression analysis to explore the relationship within the data. The results of the project will help Olive Garden to decide where to open a new restaurant, who are our target customers, and how competitors affect its performance. We have 3 framed questions. First, after evaluating the demographic information of the residents, are there any demographic facts that affect the performance of Olive Garden? Second question is, does the total number of competitors nearby have any influence on the Olive Garden restaurant's sales performance? The third question is, did the Olive Garden restaurant in the different states perform differently in terms of sales? For the vision part, I will choose variables strongly represent the performance of each Olive Garden. Then I will choose independent variables related to these 3 questions. I will use correlation analysis and the linear regression model to explore the influence of a competitor. And then I will use k-means and partition to explore the demographic facts. For the solution, my analysis has led me to conclude that some of the demographic facts are statistically related to the performance of Olive Garden restaurant. We also found the local higher income score leads to better performance of our restaurant, and the competitors nearby don't have a significant impact on the performance of Olive Garden restaurant overall. I recommend that the following action be taken. First, we should target in the areas with higher average household size and a higher percentage of family-owned children under 18. The second, we should focus on the areas with lower percentage of vehicles available and where people need more time to work. And third, we should target the areas where family income level is high. Fourth, we should collaborate with Cracker Barrel, because Cracker Barrel has a strong positive relationship with Olive Garden. Last but not least, I would suggest Olive Garden build restaurants in states MA, MD, NE, NJ, OR, and VA. I will show you how we get this conclusion at the following slides. For the process, we choose income score as our dependent variable, and for each question, we reserve the related independent variables. Here's the details of our process. Now let's talk about how we did the analysis. First, we want to know the demographic influence. We did a fit model. The chart is on the right. Then we did the fit model again and just pick the most significant factors. The result is on the chart on the left. We found the average household size, households with own children under 18, and mean travel time to work all have positive relationship with income score. And there is a negative relationship between percent vehicle available and income score. Here is the prediction expression. So based on the analysis, we could conclude Olive Garden should locate in areas with higher average household size. People spend more time to work and those with children under 18. However, we should not target those with higher percent vehicles available. Then, in order to explore the relationship between income level and the performance of Olive Garden, we did K-means and partition. The red indicates cluster 1. The color green indicates cluster 2. The blue indicates cluster 3. And from the decision tree, we found when family median income less than 60,000, most Olive Garden restaurants belong to cluster 3, which is the worst performance group. However, when total per capita income past 12 months is more than 32,000, most restaurants belong to cluster 2, which is the best performance group. So we found we should target on those areas with higher income level. Next, we want to know the competitor influence. We did a correlation analysis between income score and the competitor's performance index. We found that there is a strong relationship between income score and the Cracker Barrel. Then we did a correlation analysis between the income score and the number of competitors nearby. We found that there is no obvious relationship between them. Then we also found that there is a negative relationship between the average performance index competitors in vicinity of Olive Garden and then income score. Based on the analysis above, we concluded the number of competitors don't cast a significant influence on the income score, but the performance of competitors does. Next, we want to explore the geographic influence. We did a regression for geographic factors after removing the insignificant variables. The result is on the right. You can see there is a strong positive relationship between income score and the coffee count, and a strong negative relationship between income score and the bar count. Next, to find out the best states, we did the following tabulations. From the left tabulation, we get to know the best 6 states are MA, MD, NE, NJ, OR, and VA. These states have the highest mean of income score. From the middle tabulation, we also know the total number of Olive Garden restaurants in these 6 states is still low, which means these states have a large potential market for Olive Garden. And from the right tabulation, we notice that the income level of the 6 states are relatively high compared to other states. This is consistent with the conclusion of partition analysis we have done in the first part. Based on the analysis above, we have 6 conclusions. First, it's better for Olive Garden restaurants to focus on the areas with higher average household size and higher percentage of families on children under 18. The second, Olive Garden should locate its restaurant in the areas with lower percentage of vehicles available and where people need more travel time to work. Third, Olive Garden should target the areas where family income level and the total per capita income are both high. Fourth, Olive Garden don't have to worry about the total number of competitors nearby, but the performance of its competitors have negative influence on it. And we should collaborate with Cracker Barrel, because Cracker Barrel have some strong positive relationship with the Olive Garden. And somewhere near cafe and the park may be a good choice. Last, Olive Garden should select MAMD, NENJOR, and VA as its target markets due to their outstanding mean income score. Thank you so much. This is my presentation. If you have any questions, you can contact me through my NYU email. Thank you for your listening.